All right, good afternoon. My name is David Ammons. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, Retire Wise. We have a special guest with us today, Jody Clayton. I said that correctly, right?
You did.
All right,
Yes,
so
sir.
Jody is with Heritage Greens. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about himself and a little bit about Heritage Greens and some very exciting things they're doing in the realm of travel for the retirement residents. For the, do you call them residents or members or?
Residents, correct.
Residents, okay, good.
That's correct.
So I will say that you would think most communities would do a very active travel program, but for various reasons, we're not doing as much across the spectrum as I wish we did. So Jody, welcome. Good morning. Tell us a little bit about yourself and Heritage Greens and that type of thing.
Goodness, wow, that's a lot. So, starting Jody Clayton, Business Development Director. I'm actually the Business Development Director for Heritage Greens and Abbotswood and Irving Park. They're two Kisco senior living communities here in the Triad. And so a little bit about me and my background, public relations, counseling was something I've done for years. And so have a background and a mind in that regard. Something that was brought up recently was travel. And like you said, some communities are being very intentional about travel, some maybe not as much. What we have found is that we think of travel beyond just going to the grocery store, the bank, maybe a local park. That's travel.
That's right.
That can be travel.
Trips, they call those
Trips.
Day trips.
Day trips, right.
Yes,
exactly. Day trips. And so a lot of times that's one of the things that communities do to keep our residents active and moving. The way we've defined it here at Kisco is taking that a bit further. Myself, I know right now I'm technically on sabbatical, and so I'm learning again. This topic is so top of mind because just taking a couple of days away from the everyday life that we have has been beneficial. And so Kisco looks at travel in that same regard. Just because you are of a certain age or you live in a lifestyle, be it independent living, assisted living, or memory care, doesn't mean you should stop traveling. There are so many benefits to traveling, intentional traveling, and we're talking about beyond the day trip. So, for example, there are some of the benefits that we know. There's cognitive benefits. Is the big thing. Socialization is huge.
I'm very intrigued. I didn't know till just now. You said you had done some counseling in the past. So,
I have.
so you're naturally going to tie the benefits to the individual
Yes.
to the travel. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
No.
that's a wonderful piece of that why, which is great.
It's an interesting background. Like I said, that's always an eye, even in the job I do every day. People ask, why didn't you become a counselor? Oh, I'm a counselor every day. I tell everybody, every single day I'm a counselor.
Yes.
That eye absolutely is something that I take. One of the things, several of the benefits, like I was saying, one of the major ones is the cognitive piece. We know that keeping the mind stimulated is so important.
Absolutely.
As I said, doesn't matter what stage of life you are or what lifestyle you are if you're in a community. So intentional travel at my age is something that either I have to plan, you have to take out time off work, you have to plan, you have to make sure where am I going, who's taking care of the dog. There's all these things you have to think about. So travel itself can almost become a job.
That's right.
Anybody who's traveled. And then maybe you take somewhere, let's say Disneyland, for instance. Love the place, no doubt. But by the time you get there, get all that stuff planned, go wait in lines, all that stuff, and you get home, you need a vacation from vacation.
That's right. You're exhausted. Exhausted.
So, but we also know the other side of that. So there is that piece that can be exhausting with vacations. But we also know that once you get there, if you go somewhere where you can relax and let go, like I said, there's all these benefits, one of them being cognitive stimulation, socialization. So when you move into a senior living community, a lot of times we talk about one of the benefits, and it's true, we feed you and you have a ton of opportunity to socialize. But it's that same concept that being able to get out of this environment and go somewhere where you can just let go of everything that you're doing here, even in the community, has these benefits. So the way we've defined these trips, I can give you some examples I think would be better. We've been to Charleston, South Carolina, St. Augustine, Florida. We've gone to the Bahamas.
Oh, wow.
I mean, there are all of these, and the way Kisco defines it, we get you there, and we have these, our wellness team really plans all these trips out so that you don't have to worry about any of those pieces. You get on the bus, you get on the coach. Along the way, there are all these stops that are intentional. Seems like just a restroom break, but
Yes.
we plan the stop so that you're somewhere fun or engaging.
Yeah.
So that along the way, you're thinking, hey, I'm just going to the restroom, but you have all these little side trips along the way. Before you know it, you're already there. And then you're getting on the boat to go to the Bahamas.
I think that's great.
It's wonderful.
I want to interject one thing.
Please.
Is in my career, I know a lot of seniors to expand. We'll use the word a minute. Expand your horizons.
Right.
That's often done whether it's a movie or a book or
Yes.
spiritual. A lot of things, but you're right. I think people start moving away from let me see a different city. Let me see different food. Let me see, in the case of the Caribbean, maybe even different culture, different lifestyle. So, so expanding is a great thing to put back into a senior's life who it probably left so gradual they haven't realized, oh, I don't do that anymore. I used to enjoy that.
That's 100% correct.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
I really appreciate, I want to, bubble up the point that you made that as we age, I think travel just kind of gradually, especially during retirement. Maybe the first part of your retirement, you are very intentional about going places. But studies have shown that as the retirement years come on, you are traveling less, and you're also maybe losing friends and family members along the way. So the need, or in your mind, the need or the want to travel may not be as top of mind. And being able to do that again, it's huge.
Oh, that's great.
It's huge. Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah.
And you guys take care of a lot of the mechanics of as you refer to, when you try to plan Disney, you have all the pieces you have to tackle.
Right.
If your wellness staff here is taking care of those pieces, then they've eliminated that. They've eliminated some of the variables of what if I'm there and need X, Y, Z, right? So,
Right.
So I think, did you mention before, not today, but in our previous conversation, that sometimes you even take caregivers or aides or employees or however that's phrased? How does that work? Or
Sure. So let's take one of these bigger trips. We'll, again, use an example of the Bahamas. We don't want, I think it's, and this is a Jody statement, it is very important for any lifestyle here to be able to travel. As long, in the case of memory care, as the travel itself doesn't become an irritant. So the way we've answered that, we know this is important. The way we've answered that is we can take folks along with us, particularly for those in assisted living or memory care, that may need, that may benefit from going on the trip, but need a little extra, some hands-on.
sure, and they're
pieces.
experienced. They know those residents, so they also
Right.
can prompt and cue and
Right.
so things very subtle to keep them engaged and in the process.
That's correct.
That's wonderful.
It's
That's wonderful.
great. And one of the other benefits, I'm not sure if we mentioned this on the call or not, one of the ways we do that is to invite maybe a grandchild along. And so not only does the grandparent get to go to the Bahamas, but maybe the grandchild gets to go to the Bahamas and be there as a support for their loved one.
Oh, and
It's a big deal.
I can speak very strongly. We won't go down this tangent because we're interviewing, talking to you today. But I have seen a absolute blossoming, if you will, when a grandparent, male or female, gets to spend quality time with their grandchild. With all due respect, I'm going to say this out loud, without the child being in the way. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Because I used to tell a story a lot that if you are told you have to dress up because you're going to see grandpa and you sit at a lunch table and the conversation is driven by your parents and the grandparent and it turns to boring, whatever that might be, healthcare or money or food,
Sure.
then the grandparent doesn't really get to bond with that grandchild. So gosh, that's almost emotional to me to imagine that shared experience and learning each other that they don't normally get to do.
Yeah.
Now, chances are good the person who does that already has a relationship really strong with their grandchild, but even then, the opportunity is just way out there. That's
And as
Great.
kids, and as a son whose mother has passed,
Yes.
but at the time she was alive, towards the end of her life, I was always on the board of, I need to solve a problem. Every
That's right.
conversation became,
That's
let's
right.
talk about your health, let's talk about medications, even in some of those casual settings. And my niece, her grandchild, I'm sure I was dominating the conversation with all these things. To your point,
Yeah,
all the things
yeah.
that I felt we needed to talk about. And in the end, that was bonding time.
That's
and
right.
being able to take a grandchild, just a grandchild,
Mm-hmm.
on these trips is oftentimes, like you said, it not only creates memories for the grandparent, but imagine what that would do for my niece.
That's right.
The grandchild.
That's right.
So yeah.
Now a concept that I would say has kind of been worn out, or maybe not completely out, but is overspoken lately, is bucket list.
Bucket list.
But I do think that it's an exciting concept that you're allowing someone who says, maybe not as heavy as bucket list, because that's often during terminal or something.
Yeah.
But just the idea that I always wanted to go to Charleston, as you went, for example,
Yeah.
and never made time to do that,
Yeah.
and thought I had lost the opportunity to do that, and then you guys bring it back to the forefront, which is to be applauded. That's really wonderful. So I appreciate that. Where else are you trying to go, or do you dream of trips being, or what's the future?
Well, so that is an excellent question. And first off, I was floored the time they announced the Bahamas. That's probably the furthest to this point that we've been. I would love, and again, this is a Jody statement, I would love to see, and again, you have to think about on these trips, to interject, you have to think about access
Oh, yeah.
is a big thing. So when we think about like St. Augustine, for instance, I personally have never been to St. Augustine, but I understand it to be a city that has a lot of easy access into buildings,
Oh.
etc. It's one of the reasons we've gone there. I would actually like to see us go to, I would love to see like a New York or, God knows I know Paris is a stretch, but one
Yeah.
of those places
Oh,
that
yeah.
may be on
World-known city.
world-known cities.
Yeah, that would be great for the culture and shows
Yeah.
and
That's precisely what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's
I mean,
great.
the benefits alone, I have had the good fortune in my life to travel to Spain.
oh yeah.
And being able, and many of our seniors may not have had the opportunity to travel internationally. One of the benefits for me was seeing the American culture through the lens of another culture, and in my case, the Spanish culture. And
That's
so
exactly right.
it really does, it lent me more perspective than I can ever really verbalize. Yeah.
Well, one other aspect, I also applaud the communities that are doing expanded programs, and something I run across in the world of virtual.
Yes.
So I've seen, we have these virtual trips to the Grand Canyon, or maybe Spain, or any kind of world-known attraction, and that's great. That is better than that day having another, let's watch Price is Right. But it's not going. It's not the same as going there, smelling it, feeling it, touching it. That's really great.
It is. And I appreciate that point, because there are folks in the community, and I may add one more slice to this as well. There are folks in the community that are at a point they truly cannot safely travel.
Sure.
And having these virtual opportunities
it's
is
great.
priceless.
It's great.
Right? One of the side, I don't want to say benefits, but not requirement either, but one of the side pieces of these trips that we take, we have the team with us. They're taking photos. The residents are living these memories. When they come back here, we ask the residents who traveled to present
Oh yeah.
the experience to their cohort here in the community, kind of as a virtual piece. They
And
get to see the
you help
pictures.
them with that, I'm sure.
We do.
Pictures,
Absolutely.
video.
Absolutely.
The days of slideshow are gone, right? So it's how do we help them present their trip?
That's correct.
great.
That's
great.
exactly correct. And it adds that kind of virtual aspect for the
Mm-hmm. So
people.
I have two more points I'd like to touch on before we forget. Is tell me a little bit, because I know you're very enthusiastic about the lady you have here who helps you with all of that. So
Yes.
so for those of us, or for people that might be watching the podcast, who would sort of tie them together. You have a lady that helps you with this. Also understand you've allowed on those trips for people who don't live here to go.
Yes.
Not only grandchildren or family, but I might live nearby. I might be on a waiting list. I might be potentially a future resident. And so,
Yeah.
is that true? You have
That is
much of that
absolutely
happen, or-
true. And that is Gina. Let's start with Gina Rice. Gina is our life enrichment. I keep saying wellness. It's now life enrichment director. Gina is a jewel. And I don't know any other way to put that. The woman makes me tired on a daily basis. She's always thinking 10 steps ahead when it comes to residents, activities, trips, things like that. She always has something boiling, which I absolutely love about
Oh,
Gina.
yeah, that's a
She's
talent.
jeweled. It's a talent. It is truly a talent, and she's so great at it. And she parlays that energy into these trips. And one, like you mentioned, one of the ways she connected, I would have never thought in this regard, but one of the ways she connected these socialization, these connections, right? We know that meeting new people has a ton of benefits. And if you can bring that into a relaxed setting, such as maybe a vacation, there's additional benefits, just beyond them walking into the building, right?
Sure.
So you are absolutely correct. We have a system that we can invite strategically folks who may be looking into senior living, or one time we had a couple, a newlywed couple, that decided they wanted to go on the trip that we were taking. They had found out about it. They contacted Gina. Gina was like, absolutely.
Newlywed, you mean in their 20s or 30s?
In their 20s or 30s.
Oh, wow. You don't mean senior newlywed,
No.
but truly a newlywed.
They were a young couple.
Wow, that's great.
And I think, don't hold me to account on this, but I think it was one of the St. Augustine trips.
Oh.
And they were going to honeymoon in that direction. And for some reason, chose to do that with seniors.
Oh, wow.
And they contacted us,
couple.
right?
Yeah,
They contacted us after the trip to tell us just how meaningful
Oh, wow.
that was for them to be able to share the experience with a group that was so enthusiastic about being able to travel again.
That's
It's
great.
wild. It's wild.
Well, I'm sure some people who watch the podcast will correct me on this if I'm wrong.
Sure.
I drive through or by St. Augustine with some regularity.
Sure.
I don't know a lot about St. Augustine, but I think they have a sign that says the United States or America's oldest city.
Yes.
What a title.
As I understand, it is the oldest. And again, y'all, if I'm wrong,
Yeah, that's
but
right.
there's something about it being the oldest, if not one of the oldest places,
Isn't that
most
crazy?
historic.
Yeah, because
Spaces.
in my mind, when I think of oldest, I think Northeast. I
Right.
think Mayflower or something. But
Right.
But what an interesting thing. So,
Yeah.
So I applaud that. Anything else you want to add? I know we wanted to add that to our Retire Wise podcast, and I appreciate you taking the time to do that. It's an honor to meet people that are pushing the envelope and pushing things. Speaking of pushing, one thing I wanted to throw in, I hope you guys are finding it would be a talent to help a resident decide to go.
Yes.
Who was hesitant to
Yes.
agree off the bat.
Yes.
And that's a fine line of it's their decision, but I feel really strongly it'd be a good decision to go.
Right.
In balancing that. So.
You do have to be, and I appreciate that point. And again, this is where living, just to add kind of this slice, living in a senior living community is a benefit. There is a team. It's not just Gina. She's wonderful, amazing, but there's a team behind that. We're talking about the resident relations team, talking about can Mr. or Mrs. Smith, can they go? Can they go safely? What are the needs that Mr. and Mrs. Smith has? So it's a combination of, if they're in the care team, resident relations, Gina. So it takes a team to plan all this, and then to gently encourage someone who may or may not think
That's right.
that they're able to do it. And 90% of the time, they are.
Oh yeah. With the support
are.
you all do, that's great.
They are.
That's great.
And convincing someone, though, that for so long has not traveled to take an extended trip again, it's an art. Telling them, hey, we're going to go stay a week at the beach in this beach house with the chef. And they're like, no. And we're like, but why? So
that's great.
It takes a team.
That's
it does.
great.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you're not getting any pushback from the children. I'll say that in case
Rarely.
the children are watching the podcast.
Rarely.
I think some would say, Mom, are you sure you need to do that? And the answer is yes.
Yes. The answer is yes, folks.
That's
the answer
right.
is yes.
That's right. Well, thank you again. It was a pleasure to spend time with you. Appreciate you helping us with our podcast. And I hope people will model more from this as the industry folks look at the podcast or learn about all your trip dynamics. And then I think it certainly speaks well of Kisco and Heritage Greens. So Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
Good to see you.
Appreciate it.